Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. Happy New Year's. This will be my first video of 2024, and I want to start by sharing the military map. This map shows all the gains and losses for both Russia and Ukraine for all of 2023. Down here in the south, marked in yellow, this is where Ukraine made progress, in Zaporizhia and southern Donetsk. Meanwhile, the Russians made progress in Luhansk, Bakhmut, and around Avdiivka. But when you think about the size and scale of the country of Ukraine, neither side made significant progress for the entire year. This is in contrast to 2022, when the Ukrainians expelled the Russians from the north, expelled the Russians from the Kharkiv region, expelled the Russians from Kherson, even Snake Island. But this war has entered a new phase. It's just too difficult for either side to advance. Both sides attempted to do so in 2023. So realistically, I think this war can only end if there's a political or economic collapse from one of the two sides. Resources are being expended every day, soldiers are being lost every day, but both sides are regenerating fast enough to keep the front lines at a standstill. For there to be a breakthrough for the Russians, they need a political or economic collapse of the government in Kyiv. And for Ukraine to realistically liberate all their territory, they're going to need a political or an economic collapse back in Russia. So let's make a prediction for 2024. And I think this is going to be the last year of Putin. He's gotten lucky, in my opinion, the last 2 years. He plays it pretty safe, not going out in public too often. But I think someone's going to get to this guy at some point in 2024. He'll either expire of natural causes, or someone's going to get him in the night, or who knows, maybe his own people, his own government, will take him into custody, try and replace him, and then find a way to end this horrific war. So let's actually start with Putin and his annual New Year's Eve address. Putin praises the army in scaled-back New Year's Eve address. And this is where it gets weird. This is normal for Russia. But people are saying this is not really Putin giving this address, that it's a CGI-generated video of Putin. So let me play a couple seconds for you, and then we'll talk about this.
2023 год подходит к концу, унося в прошлое трагические судьбоносные испытания, сквозь которые прошла Россия. 2 года назад мы все вместе приняли решение изменить ход истории.
A couple weird things about this video. The first one is people are commenting on Putin's neck. Putin's neck kind of makes it look like this is a fake video.
Мы одна страна, одна большая семья.
Ебать! Горло сверху на галстук, блядь, да все падает.
Еще сильнее. Вместе.
Ёбаные клоуны.
Самый надежный.
I'll let you be the judge. People can believe whatever they want. But it is unusual that the Kremlin uploaded this video on their website at only 360p, whereas in previous years they always had at least 720 HD, so it was a lower quality video uploaded to the Kremlin site. Now you might be asking, how could they possibly do this? How could they generate a CGI New Year's Eve address? Putin more or less says the same thing every year, so this actually wouldn't be too difficult.
Сегодня мне хочется сказать вам особые слова. Дорогие друзья, уважаемые граждане России, позади остается еще один год. Он был непростым. Сейчас мы с волнением ждем боевых курантов, верим и надеемся, что все загаданное непременно сбудется. Новый год – один из самых любимых.
I'll link this video down below if you want to watch it. It's a minute and a half. The top comment is, he looks like Agent Smith from The Matrix. But when you think about it, it makes sense. Putin doesn't want to be standing out in the open like he normally does, with the Kremlin in the background. He'd be lit up and a prime target for a sniper or a drone. So Putin said he didn't want to do it, but he didn't want his people to know he didn't do it, so they faked it. It's Russia. I can't justify it. And in Putin's New Year's Eve address, Ukraine was not mentioned by name. Putin started this war 2 years ago, and in his New Year's Eve address to his people, he doesn't even want to talk about Ukraine. All he mentioned was thanking the soldiers pretty nondescriptly. And on January 1st, New Year's Day, he went to the hospital to meet with some wounded Russian soldiers.
Я уже говорил, повторить могу, да вы и сами чувствуете. Наши вооруженные силы становятся настолько дееспособными.
This is the clip of him meeting with wounded Russian soldiers in the hospital. But do you notice anything weird about these wounded Russian soldiers? They all have 2 arms, they all have 2 legs, and none of them look injured. This is what it looks like when the leader of a nation visits a wounded soldier in the hospital. Here's another prime example of a leader who cares about his soldiers and his people. So who the heck are these guys? And my assumption is these are Putin's bodyguards. These are his Secret Service. And he dressed them up in hospital smocks and had them sit around this table for this photo op. And the Russian people buy it. And we actually have a New Year's Eve address from Russia's new shadow president, Yekaterina Duntsova. This is the anti-war candidate who wanted to run for president, and Putin decided to keep her off the ballot. The official reason given, a spelling mistake on her application. But I'm excited. She's still making content. She's still putting out videos, being critical of this war. Given that Gherkin is in jail and Prigozhin is dead, there's not a lot of Russians inside Russia making anti-war content. This is her New Year's Eve address. I'll link the whole thing down below, but I'm going to skip to about 1 minute in and read for you what she has to say. As you know, I submitted my candidacy for president, but the current state got terrified of real competition. I announced the formation of a party, but it won't be my party. It will be an association of people who just want to live peacefully. I promise you that I will do everything in my power to return life in our country back to normal without special operations and repressions. With an accountable government that will look to develop the economy and improve the well-being of ordinary families, wishing that in the new year, your loved ones who are now far away can come home. After all, it is in the arms of the family that we will find a real home and real happiness, and the strength of the country and its people is in the number of happy families that live peacefully and amicably. I also wish all of us in the new year to believe in ourselves, in our strength. There are many more of us than the current government tries to present. Talk to each other. Seek out and find like-minded people. I know a lot of wonderful, decent, and brave people in our country. If we unite, we will acquire the strength to overcome any difficulties and will be able to determine our own future. And then people will stop dying. I'm seeing this window in the background, and I hope it's on the first floor of this building. Putin says Russia will intensify strikes on Ukraine after Belgorod attack. This is what's been going on the last 3 days. Russia launched a humongous missile attack on Ukraine, January 29th or 30th. Ukraine then responded by going after their launchers. They launched ground-launched ballistic missiles. And these launchers are behind the city of Belgorod. So the next day, after their location was known, Ukraine targeted them with their own missiles and drones. Russia then shot down those missiles and drones, and it landed in civilian areas of Belgorod. But if you listen to Russian propagandists, that's not what they're going to say. I can't believe in today's video I'm going to show you a clip of Alex Jones, but this is what Alex Jones has to say about the incident in Belgorod.
The Russians are not targeting civilian infrastructure. When the Ukrainians shoot down some of their missiles, they hit civilian infrastructure. Russia, all the experts agree, is not targeting civilians. But now Ukraine is, as a desperate move to try to draw Russia in to hit civilian targets so they can be demonized, so NATO has an excuse to officially enter the war.
Everything that comes out of Alex Jones's mouth is a lie. And Alex Jones has actually been pushing Russian propaganda for over 20 years. It's kind of impressive how old school he is, with new people like Tucker Carlson basically stealing from Alex Jones's playbook. And in this clip, Alex Jones says Russia never targets civilians, and Ukraine does target civilians in Russia, just like this attack in Belgorod. The problem with what Alex Jones is saying is this contradicts what the Russian state is even saying about this incident in Belgorod. This is Russian state media. Several shells and cluster parts from downed missiles hit Belgorod. Yes, Russian civilians were killed in these falling missiles and drones, but Russia's not even saying that Ukraine is deliberately targeting civilians. But for Russian propagandists in the West, they're happy contradicting Kremlin propaganda, Russian state positions, in order to make the West and Ukraine look as bad as possible when that's not the reality. But what is going viral on social media? Residents of Belgorod filming videos showing up to bomb shelters that are locked. They can't get into them. And the reason why you can't get into a bomb shelter in Belgorod is because they're not taking the threat serious. When Ukraine launches drones that fly over Moscow, there's no air raid sirens going off. There's no text alert system going out to everyone's phone. The Russians do nothing to protect their own civilians. 2 reasons. 1, they don't care about their own civilians. But 2, they know Ukraine doesn't target civilians. If I'm being honest with you, Ukraine doesn't have the spare ammunition. They don't have missiles and drones to waste on Russian civilians. They're only going after valid military targets. Russia knows this, so they don't even do anything to protect their own civilian populations when these things get shot down. And the last couple nights, it's just been back and forth. Russian strike on Kharkiv wounds 28, including 2 children, and including foreign journalists. This is the Kharkiv Palace, and this is Russia's retaliation for the deaths of their citizens in Belgorod. The hotel manager confirmed that a total of 15 rooms were rented out, and at least 10 were from foreign journalists. Russia deliberately targeted this civilian hotel. This is a landmark in the city, and their goal is just terrorism. And it continues. Ukraine's air defense makes record interception of 90 drones from a Russian attack on New Year's Eve. 90 drones were launched New Year's Eve, 87 were shot down. But Russia wasn't done. The next night, Russia fired 99 missiles on Ukraine, 72 of which were downed. At least 5 civilians killed, a dozen more injured. This is for this morning, basically. So Russia just spent $1 billion, including 10 of their hypersonic Kinzhal missiles, to blow up as many apartment buildings in Kharkiv and Kyiv as they could get. The pictures and videos coming out this morning are horrendous. And I can't help but think of these numbers. Russia's annual budget for their entire military is $75 billion. So you think about their Navy, their Air Force, all of their soldiers' pay. And they just spent another $1 billion last night, 1.5% of their military budget, to blow up some apartment buildings. The good news is that all 10 of these Kinzhal hypersonic missiles were shot down by Patriot systems. This is according to General Zaluzny. But with Russia, it's always about quantity, sending as much as they can to overwhelm Ukraine's air defense systems, and some of them are going to get through. I'll link this video down below of what the devastation looks like in Kharkiv as Russia continues to just blow up apartment buildings. 100% completely civilian areas. This is not falling debris from shot down missiles. This is what the missiles were targeting. And on YouTube, I can't show raw footage of ruins of destroyed buildings resulting from a violent event. This is a recent YouTube policy. So these are the only ruins of buildings I can ever show you in video, because all ruins of destroyed buildings are from violent events. But I'm going to try and show this clip. This is not raw footage for you YouTube monitors out there. This is the Kyiv mayor, Klitschko, reporting on the scene from where one of these missiles struck a residential building.
Ще одна гаряча атака на наше місто, Солонівський район, пошкоджувала великий кратер, знаходиться за мною. 10 метрів від дому впала уламок ракети, а будинок пошкоджений. Зараз всі мешканці евакуовані. Одна жінка по дорозі похилого віку, по дорозі в шпиталь, на жаль, від травм померла. Всім надається зараз медична допомога.
There's no subtitles, but you can understand what he's saying. I can't show pictures and videos of wounded and dying Ukrainian civilians, so I'm going to show you what I can. And this is a Ukrainian children's soccer team staying at a hotel, forced to sleep the entire night in the hallway as a basic precaution in case their hotel is blown up by the Russians. And here's a clip of a Ukrainian woman being reunited with her pets.
Треба було брати щось накрити. Котика на нас.
Спасибо, вы мои хорошие, спасибо.
In Ukraine, every life matters. President Zelensky in his New Year's address vows to wreak wrath against Russia in 2024. Ukraine has something planned. They blew up that landing ship last week, but I think Ukraine is planning something big. Ukraine is still going to get GLSDB early 2024. F-16s are on the way if the Netherlands hasn't already delivered their planes. But I think Ukraine knows something, and something big is coming soon for the Russians. There was an interesting interview that Zelensky gave for The Economist magazine. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. But Zelensky is going to keep reiterating this point. A feeling that Russia is winning is a feeling and nothing more. When you look at the changes on the map on the battlefield, any Russian propagandists claiming those are significant gains or Russia's having a breakthrough, they're lies. It's just a feeling. And for anyone in the West who says we need to stop supporting Ukraine so that ends this war, Putin's given no indication that he wants to end this war. Everyone in Russian state media says this war will continue until they achieve all of their objectives, meaning taking the city of Zaporizhia, 700,000, retaking Kherson, 300,000, taking Mykolaiv, 500,000, and taking the city of Odessa, 1 million people. So if the West stops supporting Ukraine, doesn't end the war, the pictures and videos coming out of the war zone will only get worse. They'll only get more horrific as Ukraine's ability to defend themselves weakens. That's the only thing achieved by abandoning support for Ukraine. Zelensky also says that Putin pounces on such weakness from the West, and the West needs to get real. Putin is an animal. He will eat you for dinner. Let's get to the good news for Ukraine. According to Canada, they will be sending additional NASAMS air defense systems. Thank you so much, Canada. Effective today, Norway's defense manufacturers will finally be able to sell arms directly to Ukraine. Thank you so much, Norway. Final clip I want to share with you is from the other Klitschko, and he just wants to wish everyone a Happy New Year's.
This is it. It's 2024. This year nothing is written yet. Everything depends on what we do each new day of this new year. That's how it is. We plan in years, we count in quarters, but we act daily. I want to wish you all the very best. For you, for your loved ones, I wish you new ideas, new experiences, and new energy to face your challenges. No matter how difficult the times, never lose faith. This year, my country, Ukraine, will do its best to secure its destiny. To all Ukrainians, I say, keep on fighting. All our efforts will pay off. All our fallen sisters and brothers did not die in vain, but for an eternal cause, freedom. This year is our year. We will liberate our cities, we will recover our deported children, and we will be one step closer to victory, to freedom. Happy New Year. Keep on punching.
That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.